Hey, what's up? This is the Great Warden. The video I'm going to do is Patti Labelle arrested after first fight with Aretha Franklin. Yes, Patti Labelle versus Aretha Franklin. Patti Labelle got into a fist fight with Aretha Franklin. And hold on, let me turn my air down. Okay. Probably y'all can hear me now. But Patti Labelle was arrested after her fight with Aretha Franklin. Now, I knew when I first saw, if y'all go on YouTube, you can find a video of Patti Labelle trying to shake, extend her hand to Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin somehow shrugs her off. You know what I mean? She basically shrugged Patti Labelle off and gave her the cold shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Basically rubbed her off. You know what I mean? Just, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't touch me, man. You know? And when I first saw that on one of my Facebook feeds, I knew something wasn't right. I commented on one of my friends' feeds that had posted it, the video. I said, they're a little too old to be going through this. I simply said that they grandmas. You know what I mean? What's the story with Aretha giving Patti Labelle the cold shoulder? What's the story of her shrugging Patti Labelle off? I'm a fan of Patti. I love Patti Labelle. I remember in the past when I was very young, I met Patti Labelle, and I remember telling her how much I loved her music. That's when she came to visit. This took place in Philly. You know what I mean? And it's a big convention, and I told her how much I loved her music. And Patti Labelle's a sweetheart, man. She's a sweet lady. And to see that, it was crazy. It was to see how Aretha gave her the cold shoulder. I'm like, something. What's the story between these two? Something ain't right, And here, when I saw it on the link, okay, it says that Patti Labelle arrested after first fight with Aretha Franklin. Now, I'm going to read the headline that's coming from this site, the News Nerd. Pretty much got all a lot of celebrities of news and everything. It says that Atlanta legendary singer Patti Labelle arrested and charged with an assault with battery after attacking Aretha Franklin. Okay. Now, the singers were in Atlanta for an R&B soul concert on March 20th when they ran into each other backstage. Labelle was still fuming from the recent run-in with Aretha Franklin at the White House for the Women of Soul concert. Now, just like what I was telling y'all, when she gave Patti Labelle, when she shrugged her, you know what I mean? Gave her the cold shoulder, that was at the White House. And Patti Labelle was still offended by that. Like anybody would be offended, you know what I mean? So, Patti Labelle was kind of, I could understand Patti. She was still offended by what Aretha Franklin did. Okay, and I'm going to read on. This said, while Aretha Franklin was making her way to the stage, Labelle extended her hand to greet the respect singer. When she threw an epic shade in an effort to avoid her, the two exchanged obscenities after the event and parted ways. They got into it. When I said that that she shaved in an effort to avoid her. She basically, we know how black people, they shrug them off. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, trying to pull away. She shrugged her off. You know what I mean? And while at the concert in Atlanta, Labelle attempted to approach Franklin like a woman should do. If there's someone as iconic as Aretha Franklin and iconic as Patti is, I think Patti Labelle did what's right to confront, you know what I mean, to come forward, you know what I mean? While at the concert in Atlanta, Labelle attempted to approach Franklin to resolve their outstanding issues. But Franklin once again turned up her nose. Again, it happened again. Onlookers say Labelle quickly removed her wig and her earrings, and she approached Franklin. So Patti Labelle basically said, "Well, listen, man, you gonna do this one?" So Patti Labelle just basically taking off. She's done had it, She's gonna take her wig off and her earrings off. And what you gotta understand about Patti Labelle? Patti Labelle, even though she lives down in Atlanta, Patti Labelle's from Philly. You know what I mean? Patti Labelle got that Philly girl mentality. And so Patti Labelle she doesn't have it. You know what I mean? So she approached Franklin Aretha, knowing that removal of earrings is a tell sign that a fight is about to ensue. Attempted to prepare herself for the confrontation, Franklin was quickly struck with a Mayweather style right and left and stumbled backwards. I don't mean to laugh, but you know what? I think they saying that she gave her Mayweather style right and left. She gave her a left and a right, and Aretha stumbled. Okay, and I mean grandma. This is grandma. And okay, let me stop. It's just that you read a story that said about she gave her a Mayweather. It's just that the Mayweather Patti Labelle being they said that she gave her a Mayweather. I mean, why they got to use Mayweather? That's the but to them, I guess the way Patti did it, she gave her, you know what I mean? And since that she gave her Mayweather, when you say Mayweather style, that's like Patti about doing a shoulder roll with a Philly show, and she gave her two. I don't think Aretha. And Aretha is old school. Both ladies are old school. Aretha Franklin should know when a woman take off her wig and her two earrings. You should know. And Patti being from Philly, she's gonna bring that to you. You know what I mean? She should know. And they said that and left and stumbled backwards, landing awkwardly as they say. Bystanders subdued Labelle and escorted her outside of the venue. Franklin suffered only a minor injury. Labelle was quickly apprehended by the Atlanta Police Department and charged with an assault and battery. She was released on a $10,000 bail and would appear in court on April 16th. And y'all can look at that video, man. Y'all can go check that video out and watch where it's extended from. And let me tell you something. Let me be real honest with you. I don't agree that Patti Labelle hit her. Okay? But I do agree Patti Labelle approaching her like a woman to settle their differences. You know what I mean? To see, you know what I mean? To get to the root of the problem is. What's your problem with me? You know what I mean? And honestly, I never thought that Patti LaBelle and Aretha Franklin had any beef. I didn't think they had any beef. I wouldn't even think that there was a beef. That's what I don't understand. You know, and I think Patti LaBelle did was right by approaching her. You know, but you know, y'all grandmoms, you know, I've seen people comment to my Patti LaBelle is supposed to be a mentor among young ladies, other women. But you know, nobody is perfect, man. You know, and I think Patti LaBelle just got fed up with it. You know what I mean? She just done it to me again in front of my face. You know, and if you look at Patti LaBelle extending her hand at the White House, you can see. I mean, it was all love with Patti LaBelle trying to approach Aretha. It was all love, and you know, Aretha just basically shrugged her off. And Patti LaBelle was trying to talk to her to see what the problem was, and Aretha, you know, turned her nose up again at Patti. You know, and Patti being a Philly woman, she wasn't having that shit. So I guess she got into a Floyd Mayweather stance, shoulder roll, and gave her a two-piece. Left hook, right hook. I'm sorry. Because I'm a fan of both women. I love both women. You know, I love both my, these are great mothers here. I just think that, you know, next time Patti LaBelle, just, you know, just let it go, you know. If she don't want to have nothing to do with you, just let it go. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. You know, hey, you know, just kick the dust off your feet. You know what I mean? Just keep moving. You know, y'all idols. You know what I mean? Y'all you know, your role models among like women like Beyonce and other artists like you know, like I said, Beyonce. I'm talking about. I'm talking about women with souls. You know, I'm talking about soul sisters. You know what I mean? That sing that type of song. You know what I mean? That Patti LaBelle and Aretha's right there. But it don't really matter. I just think that she could be a, you know, you mentor these young ladies. But I don't consider some of the women like Rihanna to sing the type of songs that Patti and Aretha sang, because they were soul sisters there. Man, I don't know, man, but you know, but I understand people say they could be mentors among the ladies. As far as the black women, of course, yes, you know, mentor these ladies, you know, set an example. But everybody's not perfect, you know what I mean? And Patti LaBelle did what was right, but she didn't have to Floyd shoulder roller and left or right hook the two-piece stuff. You know, I mean, if Patti done that, man, grandma could throw down. You know what I mean? Hey, man, you know, you gotta understand that Patti got that Philly spirit in her. You know what I mean? I always don't think that I'm laughing at Miss Aretha Franklin. I'm sorry. Okay. But that's all I gotta say, man. You know, and that she been arrested after the first fight with Aretha Franklin. I knew something wasn't right when I saw Aretha Franklin shrug Patti off. This thing had to go way back. You know what I mean? There got to be something that we don't know about. And I guess by Aretha doing that, Patti went to her to try to talk to her, to see some closure, and Aretha still did the same thing, and Patti wasn't having it. She took off her earring, took off her wig. She said, listen, well, we going to do this. You know, and, you know, like I said, Patti LaBelle is one of the great women. She's a sweet woman, you know, and she was a good friend of Phyllis Hyman, too, but they both were those same type of nice, beautiful hats. You know what I mean? I think Phyllis started that first. Yeah. So yeah, you talking about soul, man? Those three women. You talking about soul? All four women. I would say Aretha, Patti LaBelle, Phyllis Hyman, and Anita Baker. But other than that, Patti LaBelle, you know, just let it go and just like don't worry about it. You know, keep doing your thing and just be a role model. You know, not saying that you're not, but you are.